apply. Each side is limited to 15 minutes, and the board may grant additional time as needed. All proceedings will be conducted in a calm, civil manner. Individuals who conduct themselves otherwise will be asked to leave. If necessary, they will be escorted from chambers. I now ask all those who plan to speak today to please rise and be sworn in by the court. Clerk.
Do you swear to tell the truth throughout your entire testimony? Yes. Thank you.
Our first order of business is to review and approve the minutes from last month's meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve?
I'm sorry, there
Yes,
are
ma'am.
minutes
Yeah, there.
for approval. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
So if we could continue that item to next month.
Okay, perfect. Agenda item 3, citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda. Is anyone here to speak to items today that are not on this agenda? Agenda item 4, new business items. 4.1, continued from January 27th and February 24th, case 0521. Find respondents Antonio De La Cruz, Greg De La Cruz, and Norianne De La Cruz at 900 South Highland Avenue in violation of code for permitted uses, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is there anybody to speak to this case today? Yes, sir. Would you please step up and say your name for the record? Daniel, there is somebody here for you.
Good afternoon. William Malloy, 325 South Boulevard, Camp, Florida, on behalf of New Motives and La Cruz's property owners.
Thank you, William. And do you admit or deny the violations that we're discussing today?
We admit that there is a potential question as to what the specific use of the property in question is. The assertion from code enforcement is that it's a halfway house. We feel there's another definition in the land development code, that of a community residential home, which is more appropriate.
Okay.
So I neither admit nor deny.
Okay.
After speaking to the city attorney's office just yesterday, in fact, I believe the appropriate route is to ask Clearwater's Development Services for a zoning verification as to what exactly this use constitutes under the land development code. And without skipping or getting out of order here, that would be our request today, is just have a little bit of relief to request that verification and bring it back to you.
Okay, thank you. How did staff, any word towards this?
The attorney spoke with Mike Fuino, Attorney Fuino, and Mr. Fuino did contact me this morning and let me know that was a conversation that was had, and so city certainly supports more time.
So, are you saying that you want more time before we hear, even hear it? We're not going to hear it today, we're going to continue it?
Correct.
For how many days, so is the request?
Is next month's?
Depending on the speed of development services, if it was Hillsborough County, I'd ask for 60 days. If Clearwater is a little more agile, I'd say 30 should be fine.
I'm
You
okay.
want to put it for 30, request the board for 30, and then if you need additional time to notify the clerk's office?
I'm happy to do that.
So then we would just not even hear it, we would just continue it for 30 days for consideration before you at the next meeting?
Okay, do you need a motion from the board for that? Or?
Yes.
Okay, board, so we'll need a motion regarding the language he said.
May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
In regard? The city needs more time to determine the difference between a halfway house and a community residential home, is that?
No, I think respondent wants to see if they fit into a different definition that would be allowable under our code.
So we need more time to,
So the respondent needs more time, and the city is supporting that request.
okay.
Any additional questions from the board? Okay, if we can have a motion to continue that for 30 days.
I'll make the motion that we continue for 30 days.
Okay, motion is made. Is there a second? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Case number 0521 is continued for 30 days. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Knight. Case number 4.2, continued from February 24th. Case 16-21, find respondents Navnit and Anita Kundra at 3013 Oakmont Drive in violation of code for exterior surfaces, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. How are you? And there is
Hey,
somebody.
I'm Nick Kundra. I'm
Oh.
representing my parents, Navneet and Anita.
Okay, and are we? Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, my name is Nick Kundra. I'm
Okay.
representing my parents, Anita and Navneet Kundra.
Do you have a letter or anything?
We support that, we're
Okay,
fine, yes.
okay.
He's helping on behalf of his parents.
Okay.
Okay. And the staff's good with that. And Nick, do you admit to the violation?
Yeah, there is, I just want to clarify, there is like some protective covering that is over it. So as I was like looking over the hard definition of like no covering, et cetera, there is like a covering that exists over it, but I agree that walls need to be improved and the condition needs to be resolved.
No
Yeah.
problem. We'll let you speak a little bit more to that, Nick. If you do me a favor, grab one of these seats in the front and have a seat. We'll let staff step up
Sure.
and do a presentation, and then we'll call you back up and make sure we're all on the same page. Thank you.
totally.
You can come
Yeah, just behind you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if there was a seat right up front there, no one would want to be in it.
This is the splash zone. You don't want to be in the
Don't want to
splash
sit
zone.
up there. Good afternoon, board. Where would you like to start? Would you like to see a whole presentation or just certain pictures?
Since there was not a complete admittance, I would recommend that the city provide the whole case.
Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
Very good. Good afternoon, board. Shelby Brown, Code Inspector for the City of Clearwater. I'm here to present case 1621 for 3013 Oakmont Drive. There is one violation at the property. It is for the exterior surfaces of the actual home itself, which is code section 3-1502B. I'm showing some history here. I initiated this case in early June of last year. I'd sent a courtesy letter to the property owners requesting that they take care of the exterior surfaces of the property. We know it was a different year last year with the pandemic, so we're giving everybody time. Nothing had gotten done, so I sent a notice of violation in October 12th actually, with a compliance date of December 5th, 2020. We had an acknowledgement of the issue via phone calls and emails with the property owner and the property owner's son, Nick, through June and October of 2020, and then in February 2021, as well as we had some communication this month via email. So the quick and short of it is this is the west side of the home, and as you can see, there's a lot of damage to the exterior surfaces here. We've got coverings on the walls that aren't part of the stucco or the proper surface. Different kinds, looks like, I don't know, some kind of wood to hold those things in place, Tyvek, which is a pre-house substructure. So they've got some issues as well as some mildewing, that kind of a thing. So it looks pretty obvious. The east side of the property has the same condition, not as extensive, but the same time of temporary repair has been put in place there. So I'm imagining, maybe there's some kind of a water intrusion thing, but it's very unsightly. This is a picture of the front of the home. These pictures were all taken April 16th of this year. You can see there's mildewing. It's pretty obvious, and that's consistent through several parts of the home. This is facing north. There's a little farther away shot of that, and you can see it's a lovely property. It just needs some attention to the exterior surfaces. And a little closer shot of more of the mildew there. Here's a picture of the posting for today's hearing. The hearing was rescheduled and continued to allow the Kunrits more time to get their plans in order, so that's showing that was on April 16th. And those are my pictures. And that's the case, basically, is that they've got some exterior surface issues that need to get worked through. And they have reasons for it, which I'm sure Nick will explain.
30 and 150. Is there any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have.
Yes, sir.
The tiebacks, were they applied after you cited them in violation, or?
No, sir. It looks the same today as it looked when I first went out there in June.
Okay.
That was some type of a temporary repair likely made for whatever damages were happening to the house. And it hasn't gotten any better, I'm sure. I mean, I know it's working towards something, but also I do want the mildew and the rest of the house and anything else to get taken care of at the same time.
Does the family reside in that home?
Nick, does your family
Yeah.
reside at the home? Yes, okay.
Any additional questions from the board? So I see your recommendation, June 30th.
That's my recommendation, and I will allow Nick to speak, and we will be supportive of something further than that if that's indeed what the board decides.
Okay, awesome. Additional questions? No? Perfect. Nick, do you
Very
mind stepping up and chatting with us for a minute? So Nick, it looks like this is going on for a little while, right? Can you tell the board a little bit about the plans to rectify this and where we are?
Yeah,
in that
totally,
process?
yeah. this all kind of happened because my parents both got really sick, and one with chemo, one with some heart failure stuff. So, and then the pandemic, which didn't make things that much safer for them. Since I've been like kind of taking over this to really help them out, I've like collected quite a few different quotes, which I'm very glad I have, because the first guy I'm glad we didn't go with him. We would have ended up with another situation. But I have like 2 reputable quotes that are looking at, I was just talking to Miss Brown about this, being done by like the end of like July or August. I have one more quote from another reputable. I'm trying to get 3 people. If anyone has any recommendations, please let me know to fix this. But
What happened why does it look that way? What happened?
oh, so there was like a small crack, like a very small crack of stucco. And my mom, while my dad's getting chemo, like got someone off Angie's list to like, just come fix it. And within, like, she went outside, kind of showed him the thing. He brought his whatever out there and took off that part. And then she went inside where my dad was, and she came out like an hour later, and this guy had taken everything off, like what you saw in that photo there.
Like
Just tons had come off.
stucco or down to?
Just the stucco. I mean, I don't know. I'm not as familiar. Maybe there's something behind the stucco, but like took it all off and then just said, I can't fix this. Pay me. And if you don't, it's not even me that's going to come after you. It's the people that I hired to come do this, which I thought was absurd. And so I've been trying to figure out been fighting through insurance and trying to get help my parents out so that they can actually afford to do it. He really just kind of left us dry to figure this out on his own. And so anyway, I've made a lot of progress with, unfortunately, not the insurance, but finding some contractors that I think can actually do a really good job. And I've kind of been helping run an RFP process essentially to get this taken care of. So what I was just talking to Ms. Brown about is I feel pretty confident that by the end of September we could take care of this. I want to get it done well before hurricane season, so I just want to make sure that I have 1 or 2 more quotes so that I'm not getting misled by a contractor or just taking the first person that kind of comes up, because I've learned a lot through this process, and
Yeah.
I want to make sure we do it right.
Yeah, understandable. It's a beautiful home. So it looks like the front and some of that stuff is just pressure washing. I mean, that could be done without those quotes and stuff, some of the mildew and things. It's more the,
Well, I just got a quote actually on that because I saw it when I was surveying the house, just trying to fix everything else. And I'll get some feedback from others here on it. But someone was saying if we pressure wash it, it might create more damage, and there's maybe a certain way of doing it, like a scrub or something. So whatever the case is, I did ask for quotes on that because my plan is to actually have the entire house repainted as well and
Gotcha.
sealed and take care of obviously the stucco issues that exist, but give it a nice clean finish and get that sort of sunlight and water protection back on the entire house.
and Nick, are you familiar if there's a permitting process that you need to go through if you're replacing stucco and everything?
Yes, I'm aware of, I lend a lot, so I'm trying to only find contractors that are aware of the needs for a permit, have insurance, warranties, et cetera, all that sort of stuff. So that's why it's taking a little bit of time to.
I understand. I would
find
just hate
folks.
to see you start doing work and then all of a sudden we're going backwards
I know.
again. So just make sure whatever process is you moving forward,
Yeah.
permitting and
should
all
just bring
that
a card for-
is really important. And then from
Absolutely.
staff, if a permit is pulled by June 30th and work is starting, we're not going to hold, there's almost no point, am I correct, in moving a date 4 months out, that if he can get a permit and he can get some sort of contract to have the work done within the next couple months, as long as the permit's there and it's active and they're working on it, he's fine on this deadline.
Respectfully, I prefer that we push out the compliance date altogether
Okay,
to allow him time for all of that.
Okay.
Rather than having to do thresholds where it's at. So I think that would be a cleaner way to achieve the result.
so you're looking almost into September, okay. Does the board have any additional questions for Nick?
Yeah, so it appears to me that you said that guy went up and he found a crack and he removed some stucco and then he removed some more, and then did he put the tie-back stuff on? There's an awful
So
lot.
he was going to leave it completely bare, and then I was on Facebook, you can't do that. It rains in Florida even when it's not hurricane season.
Right.
So we had to really convince the guy to come put Tyvek on, and then apply some wood on top of it to really hold it in place.
Right.
And we've had to reapply it several times. So like now that I'm like really present for it, I'm like going around making sure it's stuck and like bolted in. So
what
we had
about-
a couple people, yeah.
What about the other side of the house? I mean, so he did that side, and then he came down the ladder, and then he did.
Yeah,
around
yeah,
the-
there was like one main side on that. I think on that side it was more so like not as big of a crack. I'd say like the east side was about like maybe like 5 or 6 feet. And then there was something that was like sort of like a vertical diagonal type of like 1 foot thing. And yeah, then he tried to sell us on the idea that his best friend was a general contractor and he could fix up everything for a really large amount of money. So
Are you clear with him? Have you paid him? Or he?
yeah, I wanted to end that peacefully as quickly as possible and then find someone reputable.
All right.
Easy enough. We'll see if we can help you. It looks like time is probably the biggest thing that you need more of. City's willing to be flexible with you on that, looking into September. If the board's good with that, somebody can make a motion to moving this out towards September from June, and we can move forward and give you some more time, Nick.
Yeah.
We need to have the first motion.
Correct.
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
I'll second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And then the second.
I move to enter an order requiring respondent to correct the violations on or before September 1st? 30? September 30th?
Good, yeah.
If a respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation. For each day each violation continues to exist. If fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such a lien.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made, seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. So you have till September to, get those
End of
quotes in.
September.
Make sure you go through the correct channels on the permitting side.
Yeah.
And we wish you the best of luck.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming in, Nick.
If there's any sort of like preferred vendors that you guys could throw up on a website that's a little better than the few people off Angie's list that are not as trustworthy, I think myself and any future homeowner here would really appreciate something
Understandable.
like that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick.
Appreciate it.
Case 4.3 continued from March 24th. Case 3321, find respondents Aquilt QOZ Florida Holdings LLC at 403 Jasmine Way in violation of code for exterior surfaces and lot clearing, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met.
Chair, I'm sorry, this case has been continued to the May meeting.
Case 4.4 continued from March 24th. Case 3521, find respondents Totten Maryland Trust at 1279 Druid Road in violation of code for vehicle repair, hauling trailer, residential grass parking, and inoperative vehicles, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is there anybody here to speak to this case? Sir, if you could please, is he here for this case?
They're the neighbors, so I will let them speak after my presentation.
Perfect, no problem. If we could have a first motion, board?
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Second.
First and seconded, all in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Torrey.
Not working for me. Okay, there it goes. Good afternoon. Yusef Toure, Code Inspector for the City of Clearwater, here to present case number 3521 for 1279 Druid Road. This property, there are 6 violations. Code section 3-1503B6, inoperative vehicle outdoor storage nuisance. Code section 3-1407A5 and 3-1407A7, residential grass parking and parking on an unpaved surface. Code section 3-916C, vehicle repairs in a residential zone district. Code sections 3-1407A2C, 3-1407A3C, 3-1407A5, and 3- 1407A7, hauling trailer parked on the grass and not screened. Code sections 3-1407A4A, 3-1407A5, and 3-1407A7. Commercial vehicle in a residential zone district, residential grass parking, and parking on unpaved prohibited area. And Code section 3-203E, prohibited canvas structure. I sent multiple notices of violations. First notice was sent out in May 22nd, 2020. Another one, May 27, 2020. Then August 6, 2020. November 18, 2020, and February 23rd, 2021. The compliant dates are June 12, 2020, August 31st, 2020, another one, August 31st, 2020, 12/3/2020, and March 16, 2021. The certified mail receipts, some of them were never claimed, and the certified mail receipts were received on August 21st, 2020, and March 2nd, 2021. This is the address, the view of the house where the violation took place, but this is an old picture. And this picture, photo was taken on the 5/22nd, 2020. And this is the backyard where he has a lot of different kinds of machinery, dismantled vehicles. This is another picture taken 5/22/2020. Another vehicle parked there. You see tires littering the backyard. This is also taken on the same day. Another section of the yard. Now this picture was taken on 6/24/2020. Still, nothing was done with the property. And on 6/24/2020, I took pictures in the front where they have multiple vehicles on the grass. And 8/5/2020, you can see that he's walking on a vehicle here. And 8/13/2020, there's a trailer now in front of the house, and he's walking on a different vehicle. 8/13/2020, this is the backyard again, showing cars being parked there, and they are inoperable vehicles. 11/13/2020, same, the backyard is still in the same condition. 11/13/2020, he's still walking on vehicles. And 11/17/2020, he's walking on a different vehicle again. This is the same picture, 11/17. And 12/31/2020, he's walking on a different vehicle. And you can see to the right of the vehicle is it's a box truck, which is illegal to park in a residential zoning district. And 12/31/2020, you can see still the trailer is there. You have two vehicles now, grass parking, including the box truck. And this is 3/04/2021. Now he has a tent in front of the house. And you still the box truck is present. Then 3/4/2021, he's walking on a different vehicle, and the box truck is still present. And this is the 3/9/2021, box truck is still there, multiple vehicles on the grass, and the tent is still there. I took this picture on this is April 26, 2021, and you can see that the box truck was gone, and they did sod the grass, sod the front yard, and remove the trailer, but the tent still stays. Then April 26, 2020, this is how the backyard looks. Now he has more vehicles in the back. Same date, so still showing the condition of the backyard. And same date, still backyard is not taken care of. I went there yesterday, and the box truck is back. And now he moved the tent from where it was. Now he put it to the side of the house. If you look at that on the right-hand side, that yellow panel, he just took that yellow panel from the gate, from the fence, and put the canvas there, the canvas tent. Now you can see, you can get a better view of the canvas tent. Now he's using it as storage.
Any questions from the board? Tori, how has communication been with the gentleman?
It wasn't easy because he was really belligerent, and he wasn't very nice about it. And he had some friends that would also be part of it, and we were going back and forth. Initially, I would talk to his mother, and she would cry. And I would say, okay, I'll give you some more time. I've been really working with them, but the guy just don't want to do anything. He ended up just telling me to do whatever I feel like doing. He's not doing anything. So that's when I stopped talking to him.
Understandable. It's apparent from the pictures that he's obviously running some sort of mechanic
Yes.
job out of the property, residential, and grass parking in the front yard is pretty prevalent, as you can see, as the grass was almost completely gone. But he does look like he tried to make some progress, at least in the front, by resodding, but just moved the problems to the back.
He did that. He'll go back to his old tricks. I had a case previously, and it was the same thing. He just waited till the last minute. He took the board away, so he felt he could do the same thing again.
Makes sense. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, so as you put more pressure on him, he just kind of seemed to move his operations from the front yard to the backyard and the side yard, like the tent being moved in the side as we got closer to this
Yes,
area.
he's just trying to be elusive, and
Right.
actually the reason why he put this stuff in the back, he probably felt like I won't be able to see it.
Right.
Unfortunately, there are some inspectors here who are tall enough to be able to see in there and take pictures.
Is there an alley in the back? Is how he's getting the cars back there?
No.
He
He's
opens
a
the
gate.
gate.
Oh, he has a
He
gate.
just opened the gate and drive in there.
Okay.
Is someone here to speak up?
Yeah, I'm sure the neighborhood's very excited about what goes on there. If the board would be interested, we can have the gentleman step up, and
If I was a neighbor, I wouldn't be.
if you could just keep it kind of brief and short for us. We apologize that you're going through this, but we do thank you for coming in and chatting with us.
My name is David, it's my wife Amy. We live at 1283 Druid, which is next door.
If I could get your last name?
Graves,
Griggs?
Graves, Graves.
Thank you.
And Amy Leet.
L-E-E-T? Thank you.
Yeah, no, they drive through our yard in order to get into the backyard. And, he's working throughout the night with air tools, all night with spotlights hung from the trees. And all of our neighbors have taken pictures over the fence. But I've asked him to not do that. He'll move the light from one side of the backyard to the other. Just like what Yusuf was saying, he thinks he's being sly by changing things, but it's all the same.
All right. Well, we thank you for coming in. Does the board have any questions for them? We apologize that you're going through this. There is a process that these things have to take. We thank you for applying patience to that process, and we'll do our best as a board to try to help you and the city get this cleared up.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that was David and Amy, correct? Thank you for coming in. Yusuf, do you want to give us your recommendations?
Recommendation for case 35-21, compliance on or before 5/28/2021, or $150 fine each day for each violation that continues to exist. We are asking the board to authorize the following. After 3 months from the recordation date of such lien, if the fines and fees remain unpaid, the city attorney's office is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien using any legal or equitable remedies available under the law. And compliance can be met for inoperable vehicles and outdoor storage by removing all the vehicles, vehicle parts, metal, tires, and empty plastic containers stored in the backyard. Compliance can be met for residential grass parking by parking only one vehicle on the grass adjacent and parallel to the driveway. Compliance can be met for vehicle repairs in a residential zoning district by stopping all illegal motor vehicle repairs on the property. Compliance can be met for the hauling trailer by parking the trailer behind a 6-foot solid fence, wall, or hedge, which may require a permit. Compliance can be met for the commercial vehicle by removing the vehicle from the property and park it in a suitable area. Compliance can be met for the canvas structure by taking it down since it is not structurally attached to the main building. So these are just pictures that I've took showing now the condition of the property. Still the same thing, just the same pictures that I showed earlier.
Perfect, thank you. I would think $900 a day and fines would probably change that behavior, but that's the best we can do as a board.
Yeah.
Board, if we want to make a second motion, we can move forward.
I move to enter an order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before May 28th. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day each violation continues to exist. If fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
I'll second.
Motion and made and seconded, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, sir. And David and Amy, thank you for coming in, and hopefully we can keep your neighborhood a little better looking and get you some peace and quiet at night. Thank you. Case 4.5, case 3721, find respondents Jeanette Marnick at 920 South Hillcrest Avenue in violation of code for short-term rental and residential business tax receipt, and issue an order with compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Ms. Julie, is this a declaration?
This is a declaration. Thank you.
Board, if we could have a motion for a declaration?
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit. In this case, the violation was corrected prior to today's hearing, and to enter an order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. 4.6, case 3821, find respondents Eliza M. Harris and Barry Pryor at 1137 Granada Street in violation of code for short-term rental and residential business tax receipt. Issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is this a declaration
I
as
will
well?
also be requesting a declaration. Thank you.
Very much, thank you.
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit. In this case, the violation was corrected prior to today's hearing, and to enter an order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine of up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item 4.7, case 3921, find respondents Anthony Dax Procisi and Catherine Descharme at 1874 North Washington Avenue in violation of the code for short-term rental and residential rental business tax receipt, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. And this is a declaration as
This is
well.
also a declaration.
Very nice, thank you. You've been working hard.
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit. In this case, the violation was corrected prior to today's hearing, and to enter an order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine of up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item 4.8, case 40-21, find respondents Cassandra C. Naharanjo and at 906 Hart Street in violation of code for short-term rental and residential rental business tax receipt. Issue an order with compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is this a
This will
declaration?
also be a declaration. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips.
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit. In this case, the violation was corrected prior to today's hearing, and to enter an order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine of up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item 4.9, case 41-21, find respondents Kalupi Pulakau at 417 North Madison Avenue in violation of code for short-term rental and residential rental business tax receipt, and issue an order of compliance and deadline and fine if compliance is not met.
This will also be a declaration.
And although I butchered that name, thank you for the
Alive.
declaration.
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit. In this case, the violation was corrected prior to today's hearing, and to enter an order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine of up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item 4.10, case 42-21, find respondents DeSantis Family Trust, Pasquale DeSantis Trey, and Carmela DeSantis Trey at 1515 Gulf to Bay Boulevard in violation of code for sign maintenance, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met.
They are. Someone is here to speak
And
to it.
This isn't a
No.
declaration, and somebody is here to speak. Perfect. Ma'am, would you, yeah. And were you sworn in by the clerk at the beginning? Perfect. And if you would just state your names for the record?
I'm Charles Pixley. We're the tenants at 1519 Gulf to Bay, and 1515 is our parking lot across Glenwood.
Okay.
We had received a notice stating that our sign had blown out during one of the storms back in December. We had until January to get it repaired. We did so. And then the storm in February blew through, unfortunately blew the panels back out. Didn't do any damage to the panels, but I did have to affix the panels better. It has been repaired at this point. They're fixed, they're up, I have pictures.
Okay. So as far as admitting to the violation, you're saying there was a definite
Yes.
violation, but
Absolutely.
in your mind, as you sit before us today, you believe it's been corrected and handled?
That's correct.
Okay. If you would just, is that an admittal, or how are we taking that as far as moving forward?
Just a moment. So you're the tenants.
Yes.
But the notice was issued to the owner of the property, right? Okay, and you're not the owner of the property?
No.
Have you spoken to the owner about this?
No, they're in California. We
Okay.
send a check every month. We don't even talk to them.
Well, this is a no-show.
Well, yes, but the question, has it been looked at by the city, and has it been determined that it's been corrected?
The last inspection was on.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Charles, will you do me a favor and just grab one of these two seats behind you for a minute? We'll
Absolutely.
let the city chat with us for a minute. We'll bring you right back up. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for bringing those pictures with you.
Daniel Knight, sign inspector with the city of Clearwater. My last inspection was on Friday. The face panels hadn't been re-erected, but after the conversation, they said that they did it over the weekend. I haven't been back out to verify, so I would still present it as not in compliance, but I have no reason to doubt that it's been corrected. I just can't verify that.
Okay, so we have a situation where the tenants have obviously taken care of, or needs to be verified. The owners are not present. Did you all have, you said you haven't had any contact with the owners, right?
They collect the check and that's it. They don't.
Very rarely have any conversation with them.
Well, it's kind of up to the board, how you want to proceed. I mean, if the city's perspective is that the owners did not show up, then they didn't show up. Obviously the goal here is to get compliance, which appears that you have been able to get from the city if it's verified. So you have a couple options. You can make the first motion and maybe take the second issue and wait until we get verification from the city. You could do both your normal motions and let the city deal with the situation after the fact. I mean, these people should not be penalized for what they did. Obviously, it's the owners that are doing it. What it would do, in essence, is you would have a violation, and if there was a period of time for a fine, then the city would determine whether to lien the property at some point. So I guess I would defer to how the city wants to proceed with this.
And do pictures being brought in today that's a different view than what you've seen since Friday, does that make a difference at all?
Yeah, I think, let's look at the pictures and see what they show, and hopefully they've got some time stamping on them, or.
Thank you, Charles.
Nice.
That was taken Sunday at 1:30 when we were completed, sorry.
Gotta love technology.
It always happens.
challenges.
So, yeah, that was taken Sunday after we got done putting the panels back in. They've all been screwed around the perimeter now, so they'll stay in, shy of the panels literally breaking in half. We did purchase true sign board from Alro Plastics back in January. And then the other side of the sign, we did not put our logos on because there's trees blocking it. You can't see it anyways.
And I'd assume, Mr. Knight, that there is a permit process associated with replacing those, or not?
No, sign-based change that requires nothing.
It requires nothing, okay. Is there any questions from the board?
Yeah, the inspector, would he deem this acceptable as a,
That would bring the property into compliance for this violation, yes.
okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
So, yeah, I
So
think,
we either move forward with a declaration if the city's fine with that,
Declaration would probably be appropriate then.
and then if something changes, obviously, and you drive by in 2 days and say, that was a bed sheet and this isn't gonna work, then you bring it back before us. Sorry, Charles, not that that's a bed sheet.
All right. I move to
So I
find,
am seeking a declaration of violation for this property.
Perfect, thank you, sir.
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit. In this case, the violation was corrected prior to today's hearing and to enter in order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine of up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you guys so much for coming in, and thank you for bringing those pictures. Thank you, Mr. Knight. Item 4.11, case 43-21, find respondents Downtown Crossing LLC at 423 South Myrtle Ave in violation of code for business tax receipt, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met.
This is not a declaration.
Perfect. Okay, and is anybody here to speak to this case? Okay, board, if we could have a first motion?
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Yes, sir.
Board, Daniel Knight, sign inspector with the city of Clearwater. This is case 43-21 for 423 South Myrtle Avenue. It's a zoning violation of a BTR being required. The city is asking compliance on or before May 28th of 2021, or a fine of $150 per day that the violation continues to exist. We are asking the board to authorize the following. After 3 months from the recordation date of such lien, if the fines and fees remain unpaid, the city's attorney's office is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien using any legal or equitable remedies available under the law. Compliance can be met for the zoning violation for BTR needing to be required by either having all businesses operating at the property obtain a business tax receipt, or by having all operating businesses refrain from operating at the property until BTRs have been obtained. BTRs will not be issued until all active building permits are completed and closed out. Just to show you some photos. This, if we can get the mouse to work. This is the property in question. The subway isn't currently operating, but the Domino's and the rightmost unit is an In-N-Out Taco. They both business owners have come in and applied for their business tax receipt, but when construction was done on this parcel back in 2015, those permits were never closed out, were never finalized. So until that happens, these businesses shouldn't be operating. One of the reasons, and again, I don't issue building permits, so just from what I'm seeing, it looks like there's still a balance owed of over $8,000, and it looks like a final fire inspection and a sign-off for occupancy still need to be met. My understanding for the occupancy is that the utilities were supposed to be all done underground to the building, and that was never done. So until this happens, those BTRs just can't be issued. And then this was on 4/23, and this is just to show that Domino's is operating according to Google Maps. I have gone in and talked to both managers, and this is the recommendation.
For how long have they been operating businesses in there in this state?
The Domino's has been, I believe, a year. The In-N-Out Taco, maybe 6 months.
Interesting. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, how did they get the electricity connected above ground without the business tax?
I don't have any part of that. I'm just the sign inspector. You'd have to defer to someone who's better knowledgeable in that. I don't know.
I would think that Duke Energy would say no until.
They're paying the landlord, the owner of the building. He let them in.
So as far as like the business tax receipts violation, you're sending that to the businesses, but there's really the permitting issue that needs to go to the owner of the building.
Well, this violation, being that it's a zoning violation, is going to the property owner. It's not being leaned towards the business owner.
From them at all regarding any
Nope.
of this?
Just the certified green card back acknowledging that they received my notices.
What about a certificate of occupancy?
It can't be issued until that is met, the utilities.
Is this owner, this downtown cross, is he in Florida? Corporation?
Wherever a property appraiser has as the address is where I mailed out the, it says Clearwater, Florida. So that's where I mailed out the notices and it was signed for and returned.
I'm just surprised that as a business like that, you can open your doors and do business for over a year and still have things like that. I mean, interesting. Any additional questions from the board? And we saw your recommendation was May 28th.
I mean, I'm welcome to hear whatever you have to say, but
That's plenty of time.
Yeah, without getting communication back from an owner or have an idea, I don't think a Domino's manager is going to be able to help you much with those issues and.
Right.
What about the water? Does he have?
I mean, as far as water is turned on and electricity is turned on, but again, because I don't issue building permits, however, that utility was supposed to, when they first submitted their plans to build that building, however they wanted the utilities to be put in there, and they said that they would do it that way, it was just never done.
We could turn their water off, of course.
Yeah, I'm not sure, other than, the fines are obviously a first phase. Legal could probably tell us a better answer. What is?
I'm actually kind of surprised that the fire marshal hasn't cut the power, because they failed the fire inspection, and, the reason for that is that they had deemed the placement and routing of the utilities to be a fire hazard.
Huh.
So, might have a conversation.
Yeah, I was
with
going to
the
say,
fire
do
marshal.
we even know that the fire marshal is aware at this point? That
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have a
Interesting.
discussion with him. I'm going to see him tomorrow, actually.
Okay, thank you.
I guess from our end, we'll enter the motion.
Yeah, we can do, our part, and that's the recommendation of May 28th from the city, $150 a day, and we'll have a second and move forward.
Second. Are you entering?
I can't make
Okay,
the
I move to enter an order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before May 28th. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day each violation continues to exist. If fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, board.
That's an interesting one. Thank you for that, Daniel. Have a good one. Agenda item 4.12, case 44-21, find respondent Streams of Life Church of God, Inc. at 400 South Jupiter Ave in violation of code for exterior storage, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Is there anybody here to speak to this case?
No, good afternoon, Board. Dan Kasman is out sick today. This property is currently in compliance, so I'll be requesting a declaration on his behalf.
Very nice.
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case. The violation was corrected prior to today's hearing and to enter in order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine of up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item 4.13, case 45-21, find respondents Bel Air Properties Group LLC at 16 North Highland Ave in violation of code for residential grass parking, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met.
This property is also in compliance. I'll be requesting a declaration of violation on his behalf.
Aren't you a
Good
broken
one.
record today?
I move to find the respondent was in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this
Thank
case.
you.
The violation was corrected prior to today's hearing and to enter in order that no fine be imposed. If the respondent repeats the violation, the board may order a fine of up to $500 for each day the violation continues to exist.
A second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Skipping 4.14, jumping to 4.15, case 49-21, find respondent Strata Capital Inc. at 58 Verbena Street in violation of code for exterior surfaces and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Mr. Dixon, is this a declaration by chance?
No, sir.
Beautiful. Is anybody here to speak to this case? No. If we can have a first, board?
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Second.
He's got 5.14 up there. That's
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. So case 49-21, there you are.
So my apologies, case 46-21, does your agenda say it was continued?
Yes.
Yes.
Continue to May 26th.
Oops.
Is it?
No.
It's not. Okay, we'll go back to it. Can we finish this one and go back?
Which one are we on now?
Which one are we doing?
We're on 49-21, Strata Capital Inc. at 58 Verbena Street, the one on the screen.
I'll allow it.
And then we'll come, then we'll come back.
Okay.
I'll second.
Afternoon, Board. Inspector Greg Dixon for, this is for case 49-21 at 58 Verbena Street. There's one violation for exterior surfaces. I'm requesting compliance on or before May the 28th of 2021 or a fine of $150 per day per violation if compliance is not met. And after 3 months from the recordation date of such lien, if the fines and fees remain unpaid, the city's attorney's office is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such liens using any legal or equitable remedy under the law. This is a house out on the beach. It's changed hands a couple of times in the last couple of years. The last time was last November, and it looked like renovations were about to start, and then they haven't. I contacted the owners, and a contractor did call me, but nothing's happened except a dumpster's been put out there. They have stop work orders, and it's just in disrepair. These pictures don't show up, but the inside, all the windows, or all the walls are marked up like they're gonna be demolished or something, but if they got permits to do the renovations before my compliance date, then I would be happy with that. Work happens.
Is there utilities running?
I'm not sure if they do or not.
Is there any questions from the board?
Anybody living there? Anybody inside?
No, it's been vacant for a couple years, but with the quick turnaround with people flipping it,
Well, they're paying for a dumpster, so.
it looked like
I
I thought that
soon.
something was gonna start, but property still looks pretty shabby.
Well, I'll move to enter an order requiring the respondent to correct the violations on or before May 28th. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation. For each day each violation continues to exist. If fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And I apologize, we're going to jump backwards one to agenda item 4.14. Case 4621, find respondents Jan M. Bilgute at 503 North Garden Avenue in violation of code for exterior surfaces, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Does not look like anybody's here for that case. If we could have not a declaration?
No.
If we could have a first, board?
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Mr. Dixon?
My recommendation for case 46-21 at 503 North Garden Avenue for a violation of exterior surfaces is request compliance on or before May the 26th, 2021, or a fine of $150 per day per violation if compliance is not met. After 3 months from the recordation date of such lien, if the fines and fees remain unpaid, the city attorney's office is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such liens using any legal or equitable remedies available under the law. I have been in contact with the owner of this property. I've had trouble with it for a couple years. He'll fix up a couple of things, but this time I just keep getting the "we'll fix it." And it's full of mold and mildew. The front of the building looks like it's about to fall off, and there's no change up to this point.
Any additional questions from the board?
Yeah, same thing, utilities, are they connected?
Yeah, they rent it.
They rent it?
Yes.
So somebody's inside, or could be inside.
And is that a resident or a residential or business?
It's a residential home.
It's
Is it zone residential?
It's zoned downtown, but it's zoned residential.
Interesting how it's right up to the sidewalk and road like that. Any additional questions from the board? If not, we're May 26th, this is recommendation.
I move to enter an order requiring respondent to correct the violations on or before May 26th. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $150 per day per violation for each day each violation continues to exist. If fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Agenda item 4.16, case 65-21, fine respondents Mohammed Abdurraham at 1565 South Prospect Ave in violation of code for unsafe building, and issue an order with the compliance deadline and fine if compliance is not met. Not a declaration?
It is not.
Beautiful. And is anybody here to speak to this case? No, board, and this is for an unsafe building. If we could have a first for the unsafe building.
I move to find the respondent in violation of the code as referred to in the affidavit in this case.
I second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And is the motion for the unsafe building different than the first we just did? Or are you good with that?
I don't recall off the top of my head what the unsafe motion wording is.
Nope, I think it's right. It's the second one that changes.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you, yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Board. Jason Cantrell, Building Inspector for the City of Clearwater. This is the property at 1565 South Prospect Avenue. We have one violation of an unsafe structure, citing code sections 3-1502A for property maintenance requirements and section 3-1503B2 for public nuisance. Notices of violation were sent certified and first-class mail on April 29th of 2020, and then again on February 22nd of 2021. And at that time, it was also posted at the property with the notice of violation and the notice of hearing for today's hearing. The compliance date was from the date of receipt of each notice, 7 days to obtain a permit and 20 days to complete the work. The certified mail receipt was received on May 19th, 2020, and again, the affidavit of posting was done for the February notice on that same day, February 22nd, 2021. I did not receive the certified mail for that notice. This property, it is just south of Woodlawn Street and north of Bel Air, and on the east is Missouri Avenue, and on the west is Fort Harrison. This is a Google overview of the property. This property was this photo was actually from January of 2019. You can see the tarps on the roof. It's obviously in bad shape. Specifically, if you look to the right of the photo where the tarps end, you can see the eave of the roof there. And as you go to the next photo, that eave is gone. The whole roof has collapsed and it is caved in. Just another photo showing the same thing. It's been there a while. It's got vegetation growing out of it. This is from the street at the neighboring house, taking the photo at an angle there just to give a better view of it. It shows the collapse pretty well. And this photo is just to show some of the deterioration of the beam and posts supporting that front porch there. You can see the no trespassing signs. There were tenants there living there. I do not know if they're still there. My last time at the property, they told me not to come on the property anymore, so. And just another view showing still in the same condition. There is my posting of an unsafe structure. There is electric at the property, however, there is no utility, no water.
Interesting. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, you said the last time you were out there, they told you not to come back, correct?
Correct. They said not to come on the property.
And who's they?
The tenants.
But they may not, are they the owners?
They are not. I have had no contact with the owner.
Well, it definitely looks unsafe, so
It does.
there's no questions about that. Is there any additional questions from the board? We could hear the city's recommendation.
For compliance to be met for the unsafe structure, repair or replace any areas where deterioration or damage exists to meet current Florida building codes. Complete demolition of the structure is also an option for compliance, and all work must be properly permitted. City's recommendation for case 6521, we are requesting compliance on or before May 28th, 2021, or a fine of $250 per day that the violation continues to exist. Additionally, we are asking the board to authorize the City of Clearwater to enter onto the property to correct the violations by any means necessary, and any reasonable cost to be applied as liens against the property. After 3 months from the recordation date of such lien, if the fines and fees remain unpaid, the City Attorney's Office is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien using any legal or equitable remedies available under the law.
I move to enter an order requiring the respondents to correct the violations on or before May 28th. If the respondent does not comply by that date, the board may order a fine of $250 per day for each day the violation continues to exist, and the city may take all reasonable actions, including entry onto the property to bring the property into compliance and charge the respondent with all costs, which will become a lien on the property. If the costs, fines, and fees remain unpaid for 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you, Mr. Kendall. These are,
Thank you.
these are scary because, you know, as a irresponsible owner, you roll the dice for 30 more days because you can collect rent and with somebody living in there, and meanwhile, you know, the city can't, because of due process, finding them or doing anything about this. So he's just gonna collect, or she collect rent for 1 more month, hope that no other roof caves in on anybody and nobody gets hurt or loses a life, but that's a scary situation.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda items 5.1, it looks like 5.1.1, 5.1.2, 5.1.4, and 5.1.5. Can we accept those as a group?
Yes.
Okay, if we can have a motion to,
I
It's
move to
5.1.3 too.
yes, on the bottom, thank you.
I move to accept the affidavits of compliance as listed.
I second.
Motion is made and seconded, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. 5.2 withdrawn. 5.3, accept the affidavit of noncompliance for respondents Gary Perkins at 1505 Laura Street for residential rental business tax receipt. There is nobody here left but staff. So if we could accept the noncompliance?
I move to accept the affidavit of noncompliance and issue an order that imposes fines and states if fines and fees remain unpaid 3 months after such lien is filed, the city is authorized to foreclose, collect, or settle such lien.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. 5-4, withdrawn, correct?
Yes, yes.
Is there any other actions for the board today?
Why would you ask?
Well, that sounds like that's it, unless the board has any questions or comments. We're good. Thank you so much, everybody. We're adjourned. Great job, staff. Thank you for what you do.
I had to break.